The new eFootball version 4 has changed the game quite a bit, which resulted in some players benefiting a lot from it, while others got the short end of the stick. Here comes Pepe. Welcome everybody! Today I will show you and talk about a few cards that I think are now a lot better than before. Some choices are very obvious, others not so much, and perhaps you have one of these cards but aren't aware yet how good it can be. If you also have a few cards that perform a lot better now, feel free to mention it in the comments. Let's start with one of the most obvious choices, Ruud Gullit. I mean, it was kind of to be expected that a card that has always been one of the best in the game doesn't exactly get worse when physical contact gets more important, which this guy has more of than most cards. Additionally, he's super versatile, can play several positions with several builds, and is better than ever before. The next player is one that I think not many are actually aware of, Nabil Fekir. He's really good at dribbling, passing, and finishing. I've used him myself quite a bit and he never let me down. The update helped him a lot because his 86 physical contact combined with the 71 aggression often made him win balls for me defensively. He is really good at chasing back and winning physical duels pretty quick, especially against non-physical players. On the other hand, non-physical players have a hard time pushing him off the ball. He's just a card that feels really good to use. Downside is that his pace isn't the best, but if you use him as a central attacking midfielder, it isn't as important as compared to a winger, a second striker, or a central forwards. The next one is an obvious choice again, Bully Messi, as many call him. The physical rework also greatly helped him, because he can have an insanely high amount of physical contact without having to spend a lot of points in it. He was already great before version 4, but now I'd say he is top tier, especially for players that do have high dribbling stats. It's important not to get pushed off too early when receiving the ball, which his physical contact stat will guarantee. It will also allow him to do close dribbles next to the opponent, which other cards like Santos Neymar can get pushed away easily nowadays. The next one is actually a card that most people probably have and that I consider extremely underrated. Box-to-box CMF nominating contract Bellingham. This one's gonna take a bit longer. He can easily get the +3 manager boost in physical contact with only 5 points in aerial. This combined with his height makes him great at the new physical contact duels, both when carrying the ball and when trying to take it from somebody. Two more amazing things about this card is that it has very high weak foot, essentially allowing you to score with both feet easily, which many opponents won't expect. On top of that, he's tall and has 14 leg length, that's the maximum, making him a very strong interceptor, especially if you put some points in defending. The little downside of great height and long legs is that opposed to smaller players or legs, your ball touching frequency is a bit lower, meaning your dribbling is less powerful because the less often you can touch the ball, the slower you can react. That's why I gave him 7 points in dribbling, which more than compensates for it. Almost 90 speed is also great because box-to-box players often actually run from either box to the other in a single run, especially if you play long ball counter. He might only have 78 finishing, but with long range shooting, he's very proficient at scoring the stunning shots from just outside the box. He really is a true box-to-box player, being good at almost everything that matters defensively as well as offensively. That's another one of his strengths. You know, cards are usually balanced around their registered overalls or their best overalls, especially free ones. Back when he was released, the usual overall for such cards would be like 98 to 100. However, his stat distribution is pretty good because the stats where he's bad, such as offensive awareness, curl, heading or jump, don't harm him at all, but allow his other stats to be higher. Before we get to the next player, just to show you how extreme this concept of beneficial stat distribution can be, have a look at this over 1 year old Wan-Bissaka card. It caps out at only 95 as fullback or 98 as center back, which is nothing by today's standards. However, looking at his stats, his defensive stats are amazing. His speed is sort of endgame for a defender and physical contact is also alright. The reason why he was allowed to have such high stats without having a too high overall was because his jump and heading are, just like his passing, super bad. Basically, if a player is super bad instead of just bad or average at things that you can play around, he can perform very well because you then can have more points at more important stats. The next choice is a super obvious one again, Rafael Leão. This has always been one of the best cards in the game, and with 88 physical contact, the update put him in an even better spot. I don't even know what to say about him, just an overall amazing card that is now even more amazing. There are only very few cards that can go toe to toe with him, such as the next one, Uli Hoeneß. I mean, technically Hoeneß can't have improved with the update because he came after it, but since he's so great, I thought I'd mention him. I think since the update didn't really do 2009 Messi any favors, Hoeneß might actually be the best card that I own right now. He's a nightmare to play against, incredibly hard to get off the ball, very fast, extremely good at finishing, competent at dribbling, and on top of that, he's a blitz curler. Truly a pay-to-win card here, he's crazy. The next choice is again a not so obvious one, player of the week Theo Hernandez. So why is he better since the update? Well, he has always been good, but his defensive stats and the lack of abilities such as acrobatic clearance or man marking prevented him from being an endgame card. However, he has a niche, and that niche is, for example, a high up defense in quick counter, allowing him to thrive because his pace is quite unmatched among defenders. This can compensate for the lack of defensive stats, because even if he's in a suboptimal position, as he will be far away from the goal, he can easily catch up to any player multiple times. Now, the reason why he's better now than before is actually his physical contact stat. Usually, fast defenders like, for example, Wan-Bissaka or even the first Thuram are not the best in terms of physical contact. Old Thuram, for example, needs 10 points in aerial to match Theo's 86 in physical contact. Theo's 86 are pretty good already, and combined with his insane speed makes him amazing against fast strikers who are looking to run away with a through ball. The next one is probably again not so obvious. It's Paul Scholes. The reason is not physical contact, although 80 is absolutely fine for a midfielder. Overall, a very nice card. What makes him good after the update is that keepers are worse, especially against long shots. Having 101 kicking power and 93 finishing lets him take advantage of this. So we had Theo Hernandez who covered a niche. The next player covers the opposite niche, Daniel van Buiten. His niche is being deep down in a long ball counter defense, using his massive size and aerial proficiency to win headers left and right. In addition to this, he's also one of the best interceptors in the game thanks to his height and leg length. It's pretty obvious that after the update, he's better off since he has 99 physical contact, which gives him an easy time pushing players off the ball. You just have to account for his big weakness, and that's speed. Be careful not to put him in a bad position. It's high risk, high reward. Long ball counter is already beneficial for this though. Putting him into a defense where his neighbors are very fast players such as Wan-Bissaka or Thuram also helps in case he's passed by a striker, because these two players can then just cut in and catch up to said striker. Another card that I consider better than before is Claude Makelele. He was always very good and considered very similar to Kanté. Since this update, however, I would say that there's quite a difference between the two because physical contact is a lot more important. And Makelele's physical contact is really high. His build is pretty variable. You could also go for a bit less aerial and more defending, whatever you like. He doesn't have the size that Vieira has, so his interceptions, despite leg length 13, aren't quite as powerful. However, he is a bit faster than Vieira. This allows him to get closer to opponents slightly quicker and then force the physical duel, which Makelele should win easily against most players, thanks to his physical power. Another less obvious card is Youssouf Fofana. He's like a jack of many trades, but a master of none. A useful box-to-box card who also benefited a lot from the physical changes due to his 88 physical contact, especially for free-to-play players or for people choosing France at the event that don't have an epic team. He's a reasonable alternative as either a starter or at least a late sub. The last one is Van the Man, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Just like defenders have their niches, so do strikers. Van Nistelrooy isn't your average speed merchant to 1-2 through ball spam your way through the defense, or a raw finisher type of player. He isn't fast, but fast enough to not be irrelevant. His offensive awareness and finishing are truly outstanding. What makes him better compared to before the update is the physical contact. He has 88 here, which helps him a lot in keeping the ball or resisting defenders. Also, he's a threat in the air. What he is best at is receiving the last pass, controlling it quickly thanks to his 90 ball control, taking a step or two, maybe include a feint, and then finish. Having very high weak foot allows him to do this from either side with either foot. I played him quite a bit and was really happy. That's it, folks. Let me know if you liked this video. I'd love you subscribed, liked, or commented. Until then, guys, take it easy. Shaka!